I never thought pulling the trigger on my own life savings would feel like mercy killing my family's illusions. But there I was, finger hovering over the delete button on that email from the Ohio Lottery Commission. The one screaming, "Congratulations, Nevaeh Harper, $250 million jackpot," in block letters that could rewrite everything. I'd bought the ticket on a whim after burying my best friend alive in a grave of lies. And now it mocked me from the screen of my beat-up laptop in the back room of our sagging ranch house in Dayton, Ohio, the kind of place where dreams go to rust alongside the old Fords in the driveway. My brother, Jax, had always been the golden boy, the one Dad called the fixer after he talked his way out of juvie for hot wiring cars back in high school. Me? I was the quiet one. The girl who covered for him when he crashed Mom's station wagon into the garage door drunk on cheap whiskey. Or when he borrowed Uncle Ray's credit cards to fund his poker nights at the VFW hall. But the real knife twist came 3 years ago, when Jax got pinched for cooking meth in the basement, not just any batch, but the kind laced with fentanyl that killed 2 kids at a rave in Cincinnati. The cops had him dead to rights. Video from the corner store showing him buying the precursors. Texts to his lowlife supplier lighting up his phone like a Christmas tree. I took the fall.
Yeah, you read that right.
Nevaeh Harper, 28-year-old barista at the local Starbucks with a poli-sci degree gathering dust, confessed to it all. Said it was my side hustle to pay off student loans. That Jax was clean as a whistle.
Why?
Because Mom was dying of pancreatic cancer. Dad was one layoff from homelessness at the GM plant, and Jax swore he'd go straight, get a job, support the family, be the man I always knew he could be. The judge, some hard ass from the heartland with a gavel that sounded like thunder, gave me 5 years probation and 500 hours community service. Jax, he walked, enrolled in night classes at Sinclair Community College, and became the family's miracle redemption story. Lies have a half-life.
Though.
They fester, they mutate, and eventually, they blow up in your face like a faulty airbag. I kept my head down, slinging lattes and smiling through the whispers at the grocery store. That's her, the meth girl, while Jax partied his way through community service loopholes, charming his way into a cushy sales gig at the car dealership downtown. Mom passed 6 months into my probation, her last words a wheeze of gratitude for holding us together. Baby girl. Dad drowned his grief in Bud Light. And Jax? He started eyeing my cut of the family pot, the inheritance Mom left. A measly $50,000 split 3 ways, which he convinced Dad to invest in his latest scheme, flipping houses in the Rust Belt suburbs. That's when the lottery email hit. I'd played the same number since high school, Mom's birthday, Dad's draft number, Jax's jersey from Little League, out of some masochistic nostalgia. And boom, $250 million. Pre-tax. Lump sum wired to an account I'd set up under a fake name back when I was paranoid about identity theft from all those true crime podcasts. For a split second, I pictured it, quitting the coffee grind, buying a cabin in the Smokies, vanishing like those witnesses in witness protection shows. But then Jax's voice echoed from the living room, bragging to Dad about how he'd turn that inheritance into $1 million by year's end, and I knew, deep in my gut, the way you know a storm's coming before the sky cracks, I couldn't trust them with this. Not after I'd already bled for their sins. So I deleted the email, watched it vanish into the digital ether like a body in the Great Miami River. But secrets like that, they don't stay buried. Not in a family like mine, where blood runs thicker than water, but thinner than loyalty. I started small, testing the waters of my invisible fortune. Transferred a chunk, $50K, untraceable through crypto wallets and offshore apps I'd learned about on Reddit threads during those endless probation check-ins, to a P.O. box in Columbus under the name Eve Harper, my middle name twisted into anonymity. Used it to pay off Dad's mortgage quietly, routing it through a title company that thought it was a bank error. Watched his face light up at the mail one Tuesday. Him hollering, "Must be that stimulus check finally kicking in." Jax clapped him on the back. But his eyes narrowed. That fox-sly glint I'd seen too many times when he was scheming a con. He cornered me that night in the kitchen, the fluorescent bulb buzzing like a swarm of doubts overhead. "Hey,
Nev.
you hear about Dad's house? Paid in full."
No squat.
Weird, right? His smile was all teeth, the kind that doesn't reach his eyes. I shrugged, stirring instant coffee that tasted like regret. Government glitch.
Probably.
Or maybe your hotshot sales bonuses are finally paying dividends. He laughed, but it was forced, like a cough you swallow.
Nah. Cease.
Something's off. You know anything? I met his gaze, steady as the Ohio River in flood season. Me? I'm just the screw-up who kept you out of prison. What would I know about money? He let it slide, but I saw the wheels turning. Jax had always been the chameleon, sweet-talking teachers out of FS, betting the boss's daughter for promotion, flipping from reformed addict at family barbecues to king of the down low at underground card games. That's what made him dangerous. He could wear your trust like a second skin, then shed it when the fit got tight. I started documenting everything, screenshots of his Venmo charges to shady investors, voice memos of him bad-mouthing me to Dad over beers. Neff's always been jealous.
Pop.
Thinks the world's out to get her. Planted a cheap nanny cam in the living room, hidden in the fake ficus Mom loved, capturing him rifling through my mail, pocketing a stray 20 from my tip jar like it was his birthright. Meanwhile, my secret life bloomed in shadows. I hired a PI out of Cleveland, ex-cop named Harlan, gravel-voiced and no-nonsense, the kind of guy who'd seen too many Rust Belt tragedies to sugarcoat. You want dirt on your own blood, Missy? That's a family reunion from hell. But he took the retainer, wired from my Phantom account, and delivered gold. Jax wasn't just flipping houses. He was running a Ponzi scheme, roping in Dad's old union buddies with promises of 20% returns on guaranteed flips, then vanishing the cash into crypto scams traced back to Eastern European hackers. And the kicker? He was using my name, forged docs from my probation file, to vouch for the legitimacy, painting me as the silent partner who'd learned the ropes in the joint. If it blew, I'd be the fall girl again, this time for felony fraud on top of my meth rap. Rage simmered low, like the burn of moonshine in your throat. But revenge? That's not a sprint. It's a marathon through moral quicksand. I could have gone nuclear, dropped the PI's dossier on the DA's desk, watched Jax's empire crumble from a safe distance in Bora Bora. But no. This was personal. I wanted him to feel the slow choke of his own lies, to taste the betrayal I'd swallowed for years. So I played along, became the devoted sister, baking apple pies for Dad's poker nights while wiring funds to Harlan for deeper digs. Uncovered Jax's side piece, a realtor named Kendra from the dealership, who was in on the flips, laundering money through her listings, her Instagram a shrine to boss babe vibes hiding offshore accounts. The first crack showed at Thanksgiving.
Dad.
3 sheets to the wind on turkey and tears. Pulled me aside in the garage, the air thick with motor oil and memories. Your Maud be proud. Nev. House is ours. No more worries. And Jax. He's making us whole again. His eyes, watery blue like faded denim, begged for absolution. I hugged him, whispering, "We deserve it,
Dad.
all of us." But inside, the hook twisted deeper. That night, as Jax snored off his fourth plate, I slipped into his room, heart pounding like a bass drop at a date and dive bar, and planted a USB drive in his laptop. Loaded with dummy files, fake emails from me, outlining the Ponzi details, timestamps backdated to my probation days.
Bait.
If he bit, he'd frame himself digging for leverage.
He did.
By Christmas, the nanny cam caught him printing the files, muttering, "Bitch thinks she can play me? I'll bury her deeper this time." He forwarded them to his lawyer, a sleazy public defender he'd bribed back in the day, demanding a preemptive strike to discredit me if the scheme soured. Harlan tailed him to a meet at a Perkins off I-75, where Jax handed over a flash drive copy, haggling fees like a flea market pro. "Make it look like she's the mastermind. I'll testify she forced me into it, sibling blackmail."
Yeah.
That's when I decided, the reveal. Not a bang, but a whisper that echoed. I bought out the dealership anonymously through a shell LLC, then leaked to the local paper a tip from concerned employee about Jax's affairs with Kendra, tying it to the flips as ethical conflicts. The Dayton Daily News ran it front page. Local sales star in scandal, affairs. Embezzlement allegations rock auto empire. Jax's phone blew up. Dad called me sobbing. "What's happening to our boy?" I drove home through a sleet storm, the wipers slapping like accusations, and found Jax pacing the living room, veins bulging in his neck. "You did this," he snarled. Lunging close enough, I smelled the bourbon on his breath. "You jealous little shit. After everything I did for you." Laughter bubbled up, bitter as black coffee. "What you did for me? Like confessing to your poison empire so you could play house? Or forging my name on your grift so I'd rot if it tanks?" His face drained white, then flushed crimson, the chameleon cracking. "That was survival. Nev. Family first. You think you're better? With your barista bullshit and your pity stares?" Dad shuffled and then robe askew, eyes darting like a cornered animal.
Kids.
"What's this in the paper?"
Jax.
"Tell me it's lies." Jack's world. The mask slipping fully, from brother to beggar in a heartbeat. "Pop. She's framing me." After I saved her ass from the slammer, the lie hung there, toxic as exhaust fumes. I could have let it drop, watched Dad's world shatter. But the lottery ghost whispered, "Mercy or malice." I pulled out my phone, hit play on the compiled cam footage, Jax's voice. Clear as a confession. "Nev's the fall guy. Always has been." Dad sank into his recliner, a wheeze escaping like a punctured tire. Jax lunged for the phone. I sidestepped, years of dodging his tempers kicking in. "Enough," Dad rasped, voice cracking the air.
Nevea.
"You took that charge? For him?" I nodded, throat tight.
Yeah. Pop.
"So we wouldn't lose you too." Jax's eyes darted, calculating escape routes, alibis. "She's lying. I covered for her plenty. That we'd bust in college. Remember?" The room spun into chaos, accusations flying like buckshot. Dad clutching his chest. Me dialing 911 as sirens wailed in my head. Paramedics hauled him out, muttering about stress and arrhythmia. Jax bolted for the door, but Harlan was waiting, 2 plainclothes cops in tow, cuffs glinting under the porch light. "James Jax Harper, you're under arrest for fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy." The flash of badges, the zip of plastic ties, it was poetic. Almost. But as they shoved him into the cruiser, his scream pierced the night. This isn't over. Nev. Blood's blood. You'll burn for this. They released him on bail 2 days later. Dad stabilized but silent in his hospital bed, tubes snaking like accusations.
Iset Vitil.
For beeps the soundtrack to our unraveling. Jackson Show, too busy lawyering up with Kendra's daddy's firm. Spinning tales of sisterly sabotage. The media frenzy hit. Rust Belt family implodes. Meth mom or fraud queen? Pundits on Fox affiliate debated my redemption arc, while TikTok sleuths doxed my Starbucks shift. Tips drying up overnight. I quit. Cashed a small check from my secret vault for relocation, and holed up in a no-tell motel off 35. The kind with vibrating beds and roaches for roommates. Harlan called that night. Voice like gravel over bad connection. Your boy's lawyered up tight. But the feds are sniffing. IRS wants a piece of those flips. You want out? I can bury the lottery trail deeper. Tempting. Fly to Maui. Sip my ties while the heartland chewed its own bones. But the hook, those 3 sentences that started this nightmare, pulled taut. I couldn't run. Not when Dad's discharge papers named me power of attorney. And Jax's texts flooded my burner. Meet me. Alone. Or Dad gets the full story. Your confession was bullshit. The meat was a trap. I knew it. Abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. The skeleton of a GM plant where Dad had punched clocks for 40 years. Snow flurried under sodium lamps, turning the lot into a ghost town fairground. Jax waited inside, silhouette sharp against rust-streaked walls. Kendra at his side like a trophy-turned shield. Nev, he drawled, arms open like we were kids fighting over the last Pop-Tart. Family powwow. Let's end this. Kendra sneered, her acrylics tapping a Beretta on her hip, concealed carry from her empowered woman seminars. You wrecked everything. You know. Jax was going places. I laughed, echoing off concrete. Places like federal pen? Save it. I'm here for Dad's sake. Jax stepped closer. That flip switch charm flickering. Then drop the charges. Admit you framed me for the inheritance, the attention, whatever your damage is. His eyes bored in, probing for weakness. Or I go public, little sis the meth queen. Now playing vigilante. Dad'll disown you. The air thickened, tension coiling like a spring in a busted transmission. Kendra raised the gun, not at me, but casual, like scratching an itch. Tick-tock. Nevea. We got a plane to catch. That's when the twist hit. Not from them.
But me.
I tossed a folder at Jax's feet, Harlan's final dossier, but laced with truth serum. Bank statements. Not faked. My lottery wire. The shell accounts. The anonymous dealership buyout. Read it, I said, voice steady as heartbreak. All of it. His face cycled, shock.
Greed.
Fury, like a slot machine spitting cherries then lemons. $250 million? You bitch. You hid this? From us. Kendra's eyes lit dollar signs. She lowered the gun. Greedy now. We split it. 50-50. Right, baby? But Jax was already scheming. Mind worrying audible. No, we leverage it. Blackmail her into signing over. Then ghost. He lunged for me, hands clawing for the folder like it was Excalibur. I didn't fight. Stepped back. Hit record on my phone clipped to my jacket. Every word. Every betrayal. live streaming to a cloud server Harlan monitored. That's conspiracy.
Jax.
On camera. With a witness. Kendra bolted then, heels clattering into the snow, leaving Jax alone in his unraveling. He dropped to his knees, not in remorse, but rage.
Why?
After everything, I could have been your ticket out. I crouched, close enough to see the tears mix with snot. You were my everything. And you threw me under the bus for a quick score. This, it's justice. Or as close as family gets. Cops swarm 10 minutes later, Harlan's tip-off. Precise as a sniper. Jax screamed epithets as they cuffed him again. This time no bail in sight. Added counts of attempted extortion. Firearm brandishing. Kendra got pinched at the airport. Louis Vuitton packed with travel funds that traced to skimmed escrow.
Dad.
Watching from his hospital TV as the 6 o'clock news broke the story, lottery heiress exposes brother's empire of lies. Called me that night. Voice frail but clear. You should have told us.
Kiddo. But.
Thank you. For the house. For the truth. Epilogue came quiet, like ash settling after a fire. I settled Dad in a bungalow near the river. Hired a nurse with my windfall, carefully doled out. No more secrets between us. Jax took a plea. 15 years federal. Minimum security, with therapy mandates. Kendra flipped on him for immunity. Her TikToks now lessons in spotting red flags.
Me?
I vanished to Portland, Oregon, craft breweries and rain-slick streets. A fresh start slinging IPAs instead of caffeine. The lottery money funds scholarships now. Anonymous grants for kids from broken homes. Probation alums chasing degrees I never finished. Was it revenge? Hell yes. Controversial? Ask the op-eds calling me selfish savior or vindictive gold digger. Dad visits monthly. His hugs looser. Eyes brighter. Jax writes letters, apologies laced with if-onlys, the chameleon pleading for scraps. I burn them unread. Because, in the end, hiding that one wasn't about the money. It was about choosing me, finally, over the lie of family that nearly killed me twice. But late nights, when the Willamette whispers regrets, I wonder, did I save us? Or just trade one grave for another? Blood's blood, after all. And some debts. You pay forward. Or let them bury you. The drive back from the courthouse felt like exhaling after holding your breath through a tornado. Jax's plea hearing wrapped in under an hour, judge's gavel a punctuation mark on our shared delusion of normalcy. I gripped the wheel of my new Subaru, a sensible Outback in forest green that screamed unassuming Pacific Northwest transplant, while Dad rode shotgun, fiddling with the radio like it held cures for cancer. Static crackled between stations, mirroring the silence we'd built brick by brick over turkey sandwiches in the fluorescent lobby. You okay? Pop, I finally asked, eyes on the blurring interstate, Ohio's flatlands giving way to Indiana's gentle rolls. En route to our vacation pit stop in Chicago before flying west. He grunted, a sound like gravel under tires. Seen better days. But your brother's. He's got time now. To think.
Time.
As if 15 years in Club Fed was a gap year abroad. I bit my tongue. No point dredging the courtroom theater. Jax in his ill-fitting suit. Eyes darting to the public defender like a lifeline. Mumbling guilty through lips that once spun gold from shit. We checked into a Holiday Inn Express off Lakeshore Drive. The kind with free waffles that taste like cardboard optimism. Dad crashed early. Painkillers from his episode knocking him out cold. I pace the carpet, threadbare underfoot. Scrolling news alerts on my phone. Harper sibling saga, from meth to millions. Justice or jealousy? The comment section was a dumpster fire, half hailing me as Heartland hero, the other torching me for airing dirty laundry for clicks. One viral thread on Reddit's r/truecrime dissected my confession tape. Armchair shrinks diagnosing Jax with narcissistic personality, while painting me as the enabler martyr. Sleep evaded me. Instead, ghosts replayed. Mom's hospice bed, her skeletal hand in mine, whispering, "Protect your brother, Nev. He's all we got left." Dawn broke gray over the lake, waves slapping concrete like unresolved arguments. We hit the Field Museum, Dad's pick. A ritual from my childhood. Dinosaurs and mummies to remind us life's bigger than our mess. He shuffled slow past the T-Rex skeleton, voice soft. "Remember when Jax dared you to touch the exhibits? Got us kicked out for the week." I smiled.
Faint. Yeah.
"You grounded him, but snuck us ice cream after." His laugh wheezed.
Kids. Huh?
Always fixing what ain't broke. The words landed heavy, irony thicker than the fog rolling in. By noon, we were airborne. Dad dozing against the window as O'Hare faded below. Cleveland's steel mills winking goodbye. Portland welcomed us with drizzle and evergreens. The airport a hipster hive of flannel and pour-overs. My bungalow waited in Selwood. A craftsman charmer I'd bought sight unseen through a realtor app. Wraparound porch. Clawfoot tub. Yard big enough for a dog I hadn't adopted yet. Dad's eyes widened as we pulled up, gravel crunching under tires. "This for me? Hell. Nev. It's a palace. Temporary palace. 6 months. Till he acclimated. Then assisted living with a view." I waved off his awe. Perks of the win.
Pop.
Clean slate. Unpacking was therapy, his faded GM cap on a hook by the door. Mom's quilt draped over the sofa. My lottery docs shredded into confetti for the compost bin. That night, over takeout Thai, pad CEW spicy enough to scorch regrets, we talked real. No Jax. No schemes. Dad's stories flowed, boot camp nom flashbacks, the '83 strike that nearly broke him. Mom's laugh echoing at county fairs. "I failed you kids," he admitted. Fork paused midair. "Pushed Jax to be the provider. Let you fade into the wallpaper." Tears stung. I swiped them quick. "You survived, Dad." That's more than most. Weeks blurred into routine. PT sessions at the community center, where Dad grumbled through leg lifts with grizzled vets, farmers' market runs for heirloom tomatoes and microgreens, evenings on the porch. Craft loggers sweating in our hands as bald eagles wheeled over the Willamette. I landed a gig at a brew pub, bartending. Not slinging Joe, pouring hazy IPAs for tech bros and artists. Tips fat enough to fund the scholarships without dipping deep into principle. Nevaeh's the name. Revenge is my game, I'd quip to regulars prying for backstory. Turning scandal into shtick. It worked, Portland ate it up. The city's undercurrent of reinvention mirroring my own. But cracks spiderwebbed. Letters arrived. Postmarked Leavenworth, Jax's new zip. Federal Gray Bar Hotel. First one, contrite. Bible verses underlined. Sis. Prison's a mirror. I see the monster now. Forgive. I filed it under F for fiction. Second, accusatory. You stole our future. Dad's alone because of you. Third, wheedling. Kendra's testifying against me. Needs cash for lawyers. Wire something? For family. Each envelope a gut punch. his ink bleeding through like venom. Harlan warned me. Inmates network. He's probably grifting cellmates, using your name for sympathy scams. I blocked the return address. But doubt not was I the villain. Isolating him in concrete purgatory? Then Kendra surfaced. A LinkedIn message. Profile pic all yoga poses and entrepreneur mom filters. We need to talk. Coffee? Neutral ground. Neutral? In the city of bridges and breweries? I met her at a spot in the Pearl District, industrial chic. Baristas with sleeve tats calling orders like poetry slams. She slid in opposite. No gun this time. Just a latte and laptop bag. Nevea. You look rested. Her smile was Botox tight. Cut the crap. What do you want? Remorse?
Hardly.
Leverage. Jax is crumbling. Blames you, but deep down, gratitude. Says you tough loved him straight. Bullshit detector pinged red. She leaned in, voice honeyed venom. But the feds are digging your lottery shell core?
Sloppy.
One audit. And poof, tax evasion queen. My pulse spiked. But I played cool, stirring my Americano. And? You flipping again? Immunity only goes so far. Her laugh tinkled false. Smart girl. I want in consulting gig. Help you launder the win legit. 10% finder's fee. The audacity burned. But opportunity flickered. Kendra knew the game flips. Fraud. Facades. Hire her? Turn snake to watchdog? Or crush her like the roach she was? I stalled. Send a proposal. Vetted. She beamed, sealing it with a manicured handshake that felt like chains. Back home, Dad noticed my mood. Trouble. Over meatloaf I'd charred. Domestic fail, I spilled. Edited for sanity.
He sighed, deep as a fault line.
Blood or not. Some folks are wired wrong. Don't let Emery wire you. Her proposal landed. Glossy PDF. Harper Redemption Strategies LLC. Irony's middle finger. Legit angles. Trusts for the scholarships. LLCs for brewpub investments. Even a foundation from felony to fortune. But footnotes hit hooks. Access to my accounts. Discretionary bonuses. I forwarded to Harlan, who snorted over Zoom. She's fishing. But useful. Let her in shallow. Watch her drown. We crafted a counter. Probationary contract. NDAs thicker than Dad's old phone book. Audits monthly. Signed digitally. She started remote. Zoom calls from her home office in Scottsdale. Decoding tax codes like riddles. It worked.
Sorta.
Dad's medical bills vanished into structured settlements. The bungalow sold for profit. Funding his spot at Willow Creek, a senior community with bocce courts and bus trips to the coast. He thrived, made friends over cribbage, even dated a widow from Tacoma with a killer brisket recipe. Life's reboot. Kid, he'd say on calls. Voice robust.
Me?
The brewpub promoted me to manager. My story, a draw for trivia nights. Name the Ohio jackpot that sparked a family feud. Laughter masked the ache. Jax's letters evolved, desperation to deals. Kendra's bleeding you dry. I know her tells. Let me advise from inside. I ignored, but curiosity itched. One night, buzzed on Pinot from the Willamette Valley. I wrote back. Prove it. One truth. No strings. Reply came swift. The meth? Not just mine. Dad supplied precursors from plant scraps. Kept it quiet to protect the pension.
Bombshell. Dad.
The stoic union man. Dipping into danger for extra cash during lean years? I confronted him gentle. Over Sunday brunch at his place. Eggs Benedict. His new lady's specialty.
Jack says.
You helped with the hobby. Back then. His fork clattered. Color draining like sand through fingers. Lies.
Nev.
Your brother's poison pen. But eyes, those watery blues, darted. Guilty as a kid caught swiping cookies. Probe deeper. Admissions trickled. One time. Borrowed chems from the lab coat buddies. Jax needed startup cash. I thought it'd end quick. My world tilted, another layer peeled, exposing rot I'd dressed as roots. Betrayal squared. I'd confessed for ghosts. Kendra's next zoom, smug. Heard from Big Bro? Told you he's got dirt. Her strategies sharpened, fees creeping up. Harlan's audit flagged discrepancies, funds siphoned to her personal development seminars. Time to flip the script. I invited her west. In-person review. My treat. Nobu in Portland. She arrived coiffed. Lululemon armor. All business. Over Nijirai and sake flights. I laid cards. Jax ratted your skim. Feds looping in. Bluff. But her Blanche sold it.
What?
That bastard. I slid the termination. Out. Or we go public, your flip-flops. From gun to grift. She cracked. Tears real for once. I was scared. Jax promised the moon you. You're Teflon. Empathy flickered, sister in schemes?
No.
Walk away clean. Or join him in stripes. She chose flight. Vanishing to Europe for inspiration. Last Venmo, a goodbye latte. Dad confessed full that week. I enabled him. Nev. Thought tough love was enabling softer. We cried. Hugged. Healed in fragments, therapy sessions tandem. His for guilt. Mine for the weight of what-ifs. Portland settled deeper. Dog adopted, mutt named Rust. For irony. Brewpub trivia a hit. Scholarships blooming. First recipient a Dayton girl. Probation fresh. Poli-sci bound. Jax's appeals denied. Letters ceased. Victory? Tasted bittersweet. Like craft stout with chocolate notes. But Portland's rains whisper warnings. Redemption's a river. Not a dam. One leak. And floods return. Spring erupted in Portland like a hangover cure. Cherry blossoms dusting the streets pink. Food carts firing up falafel and banh mi under blue skies that mocked Ohio's perpetual gray. Willow Creek buzzed. Dad's bocce league won the inter-squad tourney. His date night tales now weekly rituals over FaceTime, complete with blurry pics of sunset walks on Cannon Beach. Eloise says hi. He'd beam. Her voice chiming in background. A duo defying actuarial tables.
Me?
The brew pub, haphazard, hit stride. My shift's a rhythm of pores and patter. Regulars toasting to Nevaeh's next plot twist. Life. That slippery bastard. Started feeling like less of a sequel and more original script. Yet shadows lingered. Ink stains on fresh linen. Harlan's quarterly check-ins devolved to chit-chat. Feds closed the file. Jax's snitching on cell block kingpins now. Earning stamps. Useful. But it gnawed my brother. Reduced to informant pawn. Trading tales for commissary. Kendra's ghost echoed too. A single postcard from Biza. Chin up.
Queen.
We all flip. Vague threat or olive branch. I filed it with Jax's burn pile. But sleep fractured. Dreams of warehouses and wired funds. Waking sweat slick to Rust's wine at the bedside. The Scholarship Foundation formalized. Harper Hope Grants. LLC. Anonymous benefactor clause ironclad. First cohort of 5. Ex-cons turned coders. Single moms in nursing tracks. All Midwest transplants chasing reinvention. Launch gala at a converted warehouse. Irony's favorite haunt.
Kraftcocktails fluing.
TED Talk alums gushing. I lurked periphery. Flannel and jeans amid sequins. Nursing a seltzer. That's when she approached, mid-40s. Salt and pepper bob. Eyes sharp as Harlan's but warmer. MS. Harper?
I'm Lila Voss.
DA from Hamilton County, your old stomping grounds. Pulse jackhammered. Vacation. Bluff week. She smiled. Surgical. Follow-up. Jax's testimony cracked a cartel ring, fentanyl pipeline from Dayton to the coasts.
Your
Contributions expedited it. Contributions? My cam footage. The dossiers. Currency in the justice machine.
Glad imatsat.
Scanning exits. She sipped her gin. Probing gentle. He mentions you. Often. The one who got away clean. Any interest in visiting? Closure's a two-way street. Closure. Word like a rusted hinge. Creaking open voids. I demurred. Maybe. When the dust settles. She nodded. Card exchanged, gold embossed. If you change your mind.
Dust? Mine suirlet perpetual.
A Midwest twister transplanted west. Dad's 65th hit in June, low-key luau at Willow. Tiki torches flickering. Eloise in a muumuu strumming ukulele off-key. He pulled me aside post-cake. Lay crooked on his polo. Breath minty with my tie undertones. Got something for you. Kid. Handed a envelope. Yellowed. Mom's cursive looping. For Nevea. Open when ready. Heart stuttered. Inside. A letter dated her last lucid day. Paper thin as resolve. Baby girl. If you're reading this, I'm gone. Don't hate Jax, he's my wild one. Like your pop.
But you?
You're the spine. Whatever he drags you into, remember, bones heal, but souls scar.
Protect yours.
Love always. Mags. Tears blurred ink. Dad enveloped me. His frame frilier but fierce. She knew. About the basement. Told me to stop him. I didn't. Confessions echo. But cathartic, threads untangling. Not tightening. We danced then. Awkward two-step to Elvis croons. Eloise cheering. That night. Driving home, through mist-shrouded bridges. Resolve crystallized. Visit Jax. Not for forgiveness.
But facts.
Harlan arranged it. Video link from Leavenworth. Neutral as pixels allow. Screen flickered to life. Him in khakis and polo.
Butzkuchtak.
Cheekbones sharper than memory. Nevada. No smirk. Just surprise softening to something raw. You came. I leaned in. Webcam cold under elbows. Heard you're a chatty Cathy. Cartels? Really? He shrugged. Chains invisible, but clinking. Small fish in big pond. Pays for books. Crime and punishment. Ironic. Ha! Laughter ghosted. Shared half-second. We talked circuitous. Dad's luau. Kendra's postcard. She's grifting yoga retreats now. The Grants. Heard one kids from our old hood props. Then core. Why'd you write that about Dad? The chems. His gaze dropped. Pixels fracturing. Truth hurts less in doses. He dipped once. Guilt ate him. I used it as leverage. Back when. Used it. Always the tool. And me? The fall. Sigh heavy. I panicked. Thought you'd skate. Probation's a slap.
Me?
With priors, life bid. Rage flickered. Banked quick. You gambled my life. He met eyes. Unflinching.
Yeah,
Worst bet ever.
but.
Thanks. For not letting me drag you down again.
Pause.
Electric. The money, use it right. Dad deserves the sunset. Not plea, permission? I nodded. Throat tight. I am. We both do. Sign off awkward. Write if you want.
No strings.
Screen blinked. Rust nuzzled my knee. Grounding. Twist landed autumnal. Lila's follow-up call. Voice urgent. Jack's ID'd a mole inside the DA's old office. Your mom's cancer treatment? Funded off books by a donor. Turns out, tied to the supplier Jack's texted. They paid her bills to keep him quiet. Bombshell bisected. Mom's chemo. Our lifeline. Bought with blood money? I drove to Willow. Dad on the porch swing. Eloise inside baking. Pop. The treatments. From where? He paled. Swing creaking. Thought it angels. Jack swore it'd stop after. Layers peeled to bedrock. Family a Ponzi of its own. Each sin propping the next.
Novi lines pure. Mom complicit in silence.
Dad in desperation. Jack's in ambition. Me in loyalty's blindfold. Controversy's crux. Who'd borne the real weight?
I.
The confessor? Or they? The beneficiaries? I didn't confront. Instead, channeled. Expanded grants to include legacy funds, anonymous payouts for families tangled in the trade, vetted through Lila's task force. Jack's got a cut. Indirect. Books on ethics. Therapy credits. Kendra? A final wire. Start fresh. No strings. Her flip toward freedom. Ending?
Nota i divau.
Dad and Eloise wed in a beachside ceremony. Me matron of honor in thrift chiffon. Waves applauding vows. Jack's paroled early, good behavior. Snitch perks to a halfway in Seattle. Last letter. Proud of you.
Sis.
Let's try real. I replied. One coffee. Neutral ground. Portland's rains ease to sunbreaks. Rust chase squirrels in the yard. The win? Not hidden anymore. Invested in sunrises. Not sunsets. Debate lingers. Hero or hypocrite? Savior or score settler? In America's grind, where rust meets reinvention. Maybe both. Blood thins. But choices? They echo eternal. And mine? Proved correct. One tense dawn at a time.